Welcome to this BVTV Spotcast Trilogy, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. Many may think that there's not a lot to be happy about recently. COVID, bereavement, lockdown, climate change, economy, and much more. But I've always believed, unless you seek to look on the bright side of life, the burden of unhappiness will compound. A little bit of expert guidance, though, may be needed to find that path to happiness, which is why I'm delighted to bring you this Power of Joy Trilogy with Live for Joy author and joyful living expert, Anne Scottlin. Hello, Anne.
Hello, Malcolm. It's so wonderful to see your smiling face today.
Well, you were definitely smiling. I'm without a doubt. Whereabouts are you today?
Today, I am in Santa Monica, California, which is not quite turning fall colors yet because it kind of never does, but we're hoping to get one or two leaves here in the next few weeks.
Oh, well, we're well on the way here in Northern England. And thanks for agreeing to this Power of Joy trilogy for BVTV. I'm going to kick off episode 1 by asking you my very simple layman's question. What is joy and what holds us back from living for it?
Wow, such a good question. Well, one thing I often get asked by people is what's the difference between happiness and joy? Like I get asked that question all the time. And I just like to distinguish those a little bit as part of the way to answer your question, what is joy? So I always say happiness is great, but happiness is binary. Either you are or you aren't happy. And we see all the time in marketing, advertising, and a lot of the entertainment industry that it's what you have is what the messages we get is what makes you happy. Do you have the right job? Are you in the right relationship? Are you wearing the right clothes? So it's very much about externals, the messages we've been taught about what happiness means. I like to talk about joy being different. Joy is not external. The difference is joy is very internal. It's kind of a wellspring that kind of bubbles up inside you. It's an energy that stays alive. Through thick and thin, joy is something, once you reconnect to it and really tap into it, joy is something that can be your best friend for life. And the good news is it's really the birthright of every human being. Yeah. When you were a small child, you remember possibly like those moments of just bubbly joy with no attachments, like you were born with that. So it's still there. Sometimes we've just covered it up or blocked it out, and we just need to break through and tap into it again.
Yeah. Don't you feel, though, that people who are not joyous can actually drag you down? I mean, a few years ago, I got really quite, I won't say depressed, but fed up because everybody around me was just being dragging you down. It was constant moaning and constant moaning. So I got rid of them all. That's why I'm called Malcolm No Friends now, by the way. But, you know, I felt so much more joyous after that.
Yes. No, this is absolutely true. And this is a big part of connecting to your joy is your environment. There's some parts of your environment that you can't change, but there are other parts that you can. Sometimes it's relationships that aren't serving you anymore, friends, acquaintances, people that are just not in the same space. Before the show, you and I were both talking about how we were lucky to kind of be born as glass half full people. Right. But as you just indicated, it can empty down. And a lot of that has to do with the environment and the people you're around. Sometimes it can even do with jobs, not telling them to go quit their job. But if someone's objectively miserable, they're going to have a really hard time tapping into their joy. Maybe it's time for a change.
Yeah, true.
Right? And sometimes it's tapping into your joy just in your personal life, like rearranging things a little bit to connect better to your joy on a regular basis. That can also improve your job, your regular job, can bring you positive energy. So I talk a lot about how joy can improve your job, which I think is kind of funny because people are like, what?
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Anne. Now, let me remind our audience of one of your URLs, and I'm going to give you a bonus URL in a minute, audience. The main of a URL you can see on the screen behind me is www, all the W's, Anne with an E, Scott, SCOTTLIN.com, AnneScottlin.com. Now, Anne's book is called Live for Joy, and there's another website which is all the W's, liveforjoybook.com. Live for Joy. I'll put a little sub along the bottom of and along the bottom of the screen for everybody. Yeah, liveforjoybook.com. Now, and briefly tell us, what's the focus of the book and what does it aim to do for the reader?
Yeah, the focus of the book, it's funny because when I was first writing this, I knew I wanted to focus on joy, but I wasn't sure what kind of book I was going to write. And I really wanted to write a new kind of personal empowerment book. And what this turned into was a project where I wanted personal empowerment to be something you could tap into without taking a lot of time. So this is a very condensed book of information. So you can take 1 or 2 minutes to get the benefit of what sometimes might take you a chapter in another book. I also wanted something that was not only poignant, but visually thought-provoking. So this book is a combination of visual and written, 2-punch for your day, a high dose of motivation and inspiration.
Okay, great. Well, we'll explore a little bit more in episodes 2 and 3 with you, where we'll be diving deeper into work-life integration and diffusing anxiety. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Malcolm.